Welcome to the Conscious Publicist Podcast, a space where thoughts become ideas to advocate for a more conscious human experience in the media. Our thoughts and ideas inspire action, and the most notable leaders and organizations have transformed thoughts and ideas into global initiatives that have impacted the lives of millions. My name is Ashley Graham, and as a woman-owned business founder and publicist, I guide leaders, visionaries, and creators in discovering their conscious media voice and methodologies that inspire connection, community, and impact through aligned media channels. In this podcast, we'll dive into public relations, thought leadership, business, and entrepreneurship, all through the lens of being a conscious human being. I'll take you behind the scenes into the habits, thoughts, and modalities that have helped leaders shift past paradigms of limiting beliefs, comparison, and self-doubt to show up for themselves to become the subject matter experts they were called to be. Subscribe to the show on Apple or Spotify and join us on this journey of awakening the conscious, enlightened leader within you. Hello everyone. I am very excited to officially launch our guest conversations with a fellow partner and collaborator, Cassandra McClure. Cassandra McClure is a strategic business advisor, international industry speaker, and the creative director of Clean Living Media, which encompasses a radio show, magazine, collective, and event company. Cassandra is a well-known celebrity makeup artist, as well as an award-winning inventor of the lash binder tool. She also pioneered the first Clean Beauty podcast and Clean Beauty Kit, a PR box featuring female-owned and USA-made products. Cassandra is a Glamour 2024 wellness judge and is on the Beauty Industry West Board. I am so excited to share with you this incredible conversation with Cassandra, and trust me, you're going to want to take notes. In this conversation, Cassandra takes us behind the scenes of her journey to becoming a powerhouse mentor for women entrepreneurs. What I love most about our conversation together is she touches upon how she's flipping the script on traditional networking and events to fully custom and intentionally curated events like the Clean Living Renewal Retreat, which is taking place during the Oscars weekend in Bel Air. But what really got me was her own story of how her major health crisis completely changed her perspective on beauty and business. She turned her challenge into an amazing mission, launching the first ever Clean Beauty podcast and becoming an incredible voice for conscious entrepreneurship. I love Cassandra's approach to community building because she is focused on creating genuine connections and opportunities that don't require a trust fund to access. Wait until you hear how she's helping brands think differently about sustainability and impact. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to make your mark similar to Cassandra's, or if you're someone interested in clean beauty and clean living, or just love a good story about shaking up an industry, this conversation has something for you. Let's dive in. Cassandra, I am so excited to be in this conversation with you today. I admire all of the initiatives that you have going on right now. I know that we'll dive into all of the happenings that are coming up, but I wanted to start us off with one of my favorite questions that I've been kind of sitting with as a reflection for myself, but then also with the other guests that I've been in conversation with. But what part of your story are you looking to share more of in 2025 and beyond? This can be the story that you feel is on your heart and on your soul right now that is just bursting to be told.
Great question. Thanks for having me, and thanks for being part of our community and immersing yourself in everything that we're doing. For me this year, I've really niched down and I'm really focused. I feel like that's like my word of the year, because although I have a lot of different initiatives and things happening, some people know me for events, some people know me for my podcast, some people know me for the magazine. Strategy is what gets me up in the morning. It's what makes me excited. But it's really just being able to pour into other women, which is my favorite thing. And I think it comes from not having that. And my first mentor, she did that for me. She changed my life and continue. I still work with her to this day. And it's been almost 10 years. And we meet, sometimes it's once a month, sometimes it's once a week, depending on the stage of my path that I'm going through. And all the women who I work with and who I talk to know that they can call me that way. This is friendship, it's sisterhood, it's way beyond just business. I work with a lot of female startup entrepreneurs and women who are trying to figure it out. They're solo founders. I think that's just my calling. And I just love the strategy aspect of being able to have a complimentary call and be able to pour and give so much to somebody so that they come back literally for years. I will have these people in my Rolodex, in my world forever. So it's very personal to me. It's like connection first, it's community first, and business second. And I think that's really what I've realized is how I want to work with women and how I want to serve my community.
That's very beautiful. So there was a couple of anchor points in what you were talking about that I would love to go deeper on. So on the Conscious Publicist podcast, I always try to bring this energy of storytelling because whether it is traditional PR, modern PR, the thought leadership journey, or just nurturing and managing a personal brand, we are all telling stories in some way or another. And within your space and then your connections, you're telling stories, but in a more human centric way. You're starting from an initial connection made with somebody, but then you are nurturing that relationship where everything that you're doing in that relationship is telling a story, whether it's a transformation that you've brought them or bringing them in to be a part of your personal life or vice versa. So I love that. Like at the end of the day, what I really want to speak on there is we tell stories in so many ways. It doesn't always have to be the public stories that are shared on podcast or in blog articles or in the media. Stories are also stories that are shared within our communities to build greater connections with one another. It's just the power of community.
Mhm. Mhm.
With some of your initiatives, I'm going to go ahead and plug one of the upcoming events in March for the Oscars weekend. Tell me a little bit about your ideation of how that event got brought together, why you're so passionate about, in particular, female businesses or female entrepreneurs, and how you create these experiences to bring them all together for everybody to have an incredible experience for one, but then also get to tell their stories in a public way through the experiences that you're creating.
Yeah, it's a great question. My upbringing, my mom, she had an event company, and I was going to events really young. And growing up in Seattle, like we would go all over Washington to do these events, and some of them were weddings and some of them were business and corporate events. But I loved seeing as the guests started to arrive and they were all dressed up and people were getting together and giving each other hugs. And my mom did this big event once at Bill Gates' house, and I was like so sad that I didn't get to go with her that day because I was at school. And my first wedding that I had ever booked, my background is in makeup artistry, was through her. I went and set up my makeup booth and I was 16 and booked my first bride. So events have always been part of my life. I had the best birthday parties because my mom had an event company and we had cotton candy machine and ponies and all kinds of really cool stuff. And so it's always been part of my, like one of my true loves. I love planning events, hosting, theming, getting people together, and it's just a superpower of mine. As I emerged as a founder in the beauty industry for my first brand in 2018 with Lash Binder, I started getting the quotes and the fees that were associated with going somewhere to activate. It was staggering. It was more money than I had even paid to do my manufacturing, and it was just insane. And so I started being really savvy about going through the back door and trying to figure out ways to weave in and be a part of the event in other ways, whether it was covering it on my show, on my podcast, going as an influencer, and creating my own strategies for myself. Fast forward like 8 years, last year, I got invited to go to an Oscar event at Stevie Wonder's home. And again, I got the sticker shock of a $20,000 activation. And with my collective, just knowing that all of these women, none of them would be able to afford that, I was like, all right, let me start trying to figure out how we can activate here, what we can bring as value to this event so that they give us a space. And it took a couple months, but we negotiated a spot and I brought in like 14 different brands. I hand carried all these products in and I sat down and I pitched editors for almost 2 days straight, getting products into the hands of celebrities, editors, reporters, and it worked. But it still costs a lot of money because I was able to get all the brands to split the cost so that we covered our costs going in as a collective. And that's been the power of the collective and the community that I've built because these women want the same thing. They want the media, they want the PR, they want the exposure, they want the connections. But at a $20,000 price tag, none of them can do it singular alone as startup founders. So I navigated that. And immediately after my photographer and I got back, I was like, I don't want to have to do that again. We'll just have our own. I'm going to rent a mega mansion in LA and I'm going to have my own. So that's when the planning started, March of last year. We've been planning this it was in my mind for a while. Then I booked the venue. Then I started promoting and advertising the spaces for my collective members. Then I opened it up to other collectives like the Female Founder Collective, 10th House. And because I have a podcast since 2018, I've been a guest on 100 shows. And so I already had those connections. And then my background as a celebrity makeup artist, I know the Hollywood artists, hairstylists, directors. So getting them to RSVP, I knew I could do that. My celebrity clients, getting them in the door and getting them to say yes, they would come support these emerging female, smaller brands that were unheard of. And luckily, you know, Hollywood wants to see the new hot thing. They want to be the first to touch a product and give feedback and tout that they were the first to use something or be part of a special launch or release. So we weaved all that in with the brands that are being showcased, and we have our clean living experience that we curated. So we have fashion, lifestyle, sustainable fashion, jewelry, vegan shoes, independent stylist, fashion stylist. We have a beauty category. So we have clean beauty, wellness, clean burning candles to perfume and all the other amazing skincare and makeup. And then we have a food and beverage area. So we have clean kombucha. We have water actually this year because of the fires in LA. We just pivoted and we needed to add water and HEPA filters as sponsors into the event because we need clean air and clean water as a baseline. And we got a baker. We got an organic juicer to come in and create juice shots. We have someone coming in and doing mushroom coffee. And I'm just so proud that I was able to fund this project and bring in brands and give them a space to activate through grants. Most of these women paid next to nothing to do this. And just a year ago, we were having to fit $10,000, $20,000 bills to go to events like this. And now we're able to house our own. And I'm like, why wasn't I doing this before? I have hosted events before on my own, but just not to this degree, not with the exposure, not with Vogue or Forbes coming to cover it, not with editors, not with news stations coming to cover the event, not with major celebrities coming to showcase and work with us to highlight the amazing founder stories, and podcasters coming to do live coverage, yourself included, just bloggers and writers and editors and people really excited to come to support all these amazing women. The whole event is by women, for women. And it's been just very natural because I started in the beauty industry. I was doing makeup on women. Very rarely it was men or others. And I felt more comfortable working with women. I always have. And I think I always wonder when like brands are owned by men and their feminine cups and tampon brands. I'm just like, you can't even try the product that you sell. There's a huge disconnect for me. And I feel weird talking to a man that has never had a period about my period, like with their products. Like, I've had that happen. And it's okay, this is your business, but you can't fake it. Come on, you're making money here, and that's fine. We all have to make money, but I've just felt women, we wear makeup, we use these products, we know about hormones, we've experienced all these things. And so for me, I've always wanted to empower women-owned businesses. And first and foremost, I really, as living in Silicon Valley, I know what companies are being invested in and by whom. And 90% of investors and VCs are men, and they're investing in companies ran by men. I've watched my friends who have started clean beauty companies and pioneered clean beauty industry and get kicked out of their own company and lose their own board seat, and the company be taken over and revamped by a man after the general public trusts the company and the brand and the ingredients and its certifications. For instance, EWG verified. Companies are often bought out, and then cheapened ingredients go into the formulations, and no one's turning around a label for a product that they've been using for 10 years. And so that's what we see, and we see it happen every day. And I want to be able to do as much as I can to champion women that truly believe in their brands, that have a real story. The stories are so powerful. Every founder has a story. And I feel like now more than ever, people want to know who's behind the brand. They want to connect with a product. And it's special when a consumer can say, I know her. I know the founder of this lipstick, or I've met this founder of this candle brand. And they will be forever dedicated and loyal to that brand because they have met a founder that really gave them the time of day and talked to them about their life or whatever it may be. So we create events to make those connections happen. And obviously, media is huge. And for anyone in the industry, and education for those that aren't, when you're promoting your business and you try to hire a PR company, that's another really heavy lift because it's very expensive. And generally, PR companies across the board charge anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 a month. And that's impossible for so many brands because they had in their bank account $20,000 to start their brand, and they've been working on it for 2 years, working off peanuts out of their house, trying to get the brand up and running. So 1 month to potentially have one article or be on one podcast, it doesn't convert. And just because you're on a podcast doesn't mean you're going to get sales. And so there's a lot of education in our community around that. And we provide the resources for our founders that do invest or come in as sponsors and give them 10x what they would get somewhere else so that they know their value, so they know that they're appreciated, and also just to give them those connections because it benefits all of us when we're working together. A podcaster needs guests. And if you reframe your thinking, news needs news. And so if you understand and just take a course on how to pitch media, how to reach out to podcasters, how to formulate relationships, which communities to get involved with, which forums to go on to learn where you can be organically featured, where it's not all about money. But we're not there yet, right? We're trying to just get the word out. We're trying to get our first investor. A lot of these founders they're going to be on their Series A. They're just starting to think about fundraising, but you need credibility. You need a little bit, you need some press. You need a couple news articles or magazine articles about you. So you do need a little bit of that. And so how do you do that in a way that makes sense and aligns with your brand and doesn't break the bank? And so that's something that we've always incorporated into every event that I've ever done, whether it's a retreat or a conference or a summit. Even during COVID, when we were doing our online summit, bringing in bloggers and vloggers and influencers to come support the initiatives of these amazing brands and products and founders' stories. So I hope I answered that question because you had a loaded question, but it was really good. Yeah, the event is beautiful. It's March 1st and 2nd. If you're in LA, if you are in the entertainment industry and you've been affected by the fires in any way, the second day is our renewal retreat. It's for people to come in, women specifically, to relax, reset, renew, and just be pampered. We just got a facialist on board who's going to be doing facials. We have hair, makeup, and sound healing, and meditation, and journaling, and people you can talk to and just go cry, whatever it is that you need. So, because of everything, we did pivot our event to be able to give back to LA and raise money for them and align with nonprofits locally and work with women who are creating gift boxes for these women with products that will nourish their mind, body, and soul. And the first day is our press day. It is our PR day. It's getting in everyone I was saying, whether they're writers or editors or they're Hollywood makeup artists, getting them in to check out these new brands because they're so amazing. One of our celebrity brands that we have featured is Sloane Stevens. She is a professional tennis player. She is a BIPOC founder. She has her own nonprofit called the Sloane Stevens Foundation. She has a refillable deodorant in glass that has clean ingredients. It's unheard of. It's revolutionary. It doesn't even have a plastic top. It's like aluminum, fully recyclable. And she's a celebrity in her own right. She has 500,000 followers on Instagram. And these are the kinds of people that are coming in to help amplify what we're doing. And I love everyone for that. And it's going to be an amazing event. So if anyone's interested, they can reach out to you, Ashley, or they can reach out to me to learn more about how to get involved, whether they want to support or donate products or attend to highlight the brands and come as an influencer. We're so open. We rented a mega estate in Bel Air. It's gorgeous and there's room for everyone. And when over the years, I've also been denied entry to go to something and I'm in the industry. They're like, oh, it's $3,000 for you to come into this event and you get zero out of it. And I think it's wrong. And I really wanted to not charge anyone for this event, not sell tickets to the event. I really just want to give back. And this is my way of bringing up the next generation of amazing founders and just connecting the most amazing people possible. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Having looked at the pitch deck for this event and seen the estate that it's hosted at, it just looks absolutely beautiful. And like you said, your biggest goal is for attendees or even those that are a part of the event and the initiatives behind it is to reset and regroup. I believe that anyone can really use that at any point, but I think just being closer to the beginning of the year, I think many can use it, including myself.
Yes.
So I wanted to touch upon because one of the things that I just found so much in alignment with everything that you said is there's this advocacy component behind why you do what you do. You had used the term being a champion for other women. And I think that's really beautiful. One of the initiatives that I'm most passionate about with the Conscious Publicist is to bring not only diverse voices to the platform to talk about their stories or the initiatives that they're passionate about or how they're advocating for others, but most importantly, how they're advocating for other women, because there's a very special energy and partnership that comes with like minded women who rally behind the same things. You also had mentioned how you focus on clean beauty and clean makeup and clean conscious living. And I think that is also a very important cause to bring awareness to as well, while also showing that women in business can be successful while also being mindful about the impact that they're making as well through their business.
Mhm. Yeah. As a woman who loves beauty and clothes and nice things and luxury, I I don't shop really at all for anything new. I'm lucky to live in Silicon Valley where we have a really great Goodwill, but I will shop secondhand online. I will swap products and dresses with friends when we do go to events. I'm very conscious and mindful of all of the waste and all the microplastics that's in all of our bodies now, unfortunately. I am so conscious about everything that I don't even buy coffees when I'm out anymore because I learned that the cups are lined with plastics and we're ingesting credit cards worth of plastic on a monthly basis with all the tea bags, and just everything is just riddled with plastic nowadays. Just being conscious of that aspect, but sustainable fashion, just trying to be mindful of what I'm consuming, what I really need. I have a rotating wardrobe where I put things away and I'll bring new stuff out. You forget about a dress, you forget about a jacket, and then you bring it out the next season and it's like new again instead of hanging up in your closet. And then you're like, oh, I don't wear that. It might just need to be rotated because you don't wear it during these certain months. And slowly swapping out just everything in my kitchen that had plastic, my nonstick cookware, all of that stuff. There's just so much. In 2018, that's when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease and I lost part of my vision. I was diagnosed with psoriasis. I was told that I had issues that would never go away, that I would had to go get shots every week for the rest of my life. And it wasn't until a month later I learned about the term clean beauty. I had no idea what that was. And it was very odd to me because I had a professional makeup kit. I was working at the time on several different campaigns with major companies. One of them had sent me mascara to do some work as an influencer. And my eyes would water and itch and run all day. And I thought that was just normal and that's what everybody went through, not knowing that I was poisoning myself day in and day out from everything, my laundry detergent, my cleaner, all the cleaning products in my home, the candles, the Glade plug-in filters, everything. I was just constantly exposing myself to these chemicals. I thought I was taking a nourishing bath, but all the bath products, all the shampoo, the conditioner was what was giving me these flare-ups. Every time I'd get out of the shower, I'd have itchy red bumps on my back. And I thought, am I allergic to my own hair? Like, what is going on? And come to find out, it was the sulfates, it was the shampoo and conditioner that it would sit on my skin and my skin would break out every time. I would avoid taking showers and having my hair down to touch my skin because it would hurt. And once I got rid of the fragrance and I was aware and understood what the ingredients were, my life changed. And that's when I started the Clean Beauty podcast. So we're 7 years in, and we rebranded to be Clean Living because for me, I've always said clean beauty is a lifestyle. It wasn't just about swapping out my makeup or my mascara. It was everything that I had in my home. It was really overwhelming. But going to the doctor and getting poked in the arm, there was no comparison. I went crunchy. I put everything in a box, from my deodorant, my soap, even my hand soap, everything had fragrance, unbeknownst to me. I was a huge fan of Victoria's Secret, the full thing, huge fan of Bed Bath and Body Works or whatever. I had it all. I also had a huge perfume collection that I invested a lot in. And I thought that they were all safe. I didn't know that they were toxic. I didn't know that they were making me sneeze and have all these nasal issues. And it was just life changing. So I started the world's first clean beauty podcast because when I went to go research to learn more about it, because I couldn't believe that I lived in the United States where I thought we were protected and I thought we had rules and regulations, and there are labels on cigarettes. It says it can cause cancer. It doesn't say that on any of our beauty products, but there are lots of ingredients in these that have been linked to cancer and haven't even been studied. Even worse, now in California, we have Prop 65 warnings, and that's helpful. But again, not on beauty products. I was buying $200-300 perfumes, not knowing that it was messing with my hormones and creating this issue. I started speaking out about it, interviewing other women, and slowly making changes into my own life. And sustainability is a natural part of that because when you talk to a clean beauty founder, they are also thinking about circular, like the full 360 approach of how a product is made, how the workers are treated, how the product is getting to you, how it's packaged, the end of life, what happens to the bottle? Can you recycle it? Does it get recycled? Does it get remade into another product? Are they giving back? And so that's what clean living is to me. It's about being conscious. It's about being mindful of, okay, you want to create a product? Awesome. You want a lip gloss? You want to be a founder? Awesome. how are you going to make the world a better place while you're doing that, while you're making money, while you have this brand? As women, I think naturally, especially once we have children, we think about their future. Are they going to have clean water? Are they going to have clean air? With what's going on in California with the fires, it's years of breathing outside that is going to affect respiratory, all kinds of cancers. It's so sad. And we know from 9/11 that all those people died from being back in that area where the smoke and the debris and these, you can't see it in the air, but for years, that's what's going to be kicked up and breathed by animals and in our water systems. It's been deemed you can't even go into the ocean right now, anywhere near Malibu, because of the runoff of all the toxic chemicals. And so we need to build smarter. It's funny, I had an idea and when everything happened, and I turned to my husband and I said, why isn't there, when we had termites, we were able to tent our house. Why isn't that a thing for fires? Why isn't there a fireproof cover that can go on our cars and our homes so that the houses don't burn down? And he's like, that's a really good question. And so you tell me. I don't know why we don't have protection. I know that the homes that were standing were built with materials that were fire retardant proof. They were built with, I was walking around Stanford the other day. I live in Palo Alto, and I was walking with my daughter, and I'm like, none of this is going to ever burn down. It's all brick. There's nothing for it to catch. The roof is metal, it's steel and concrete. Like it can't catch fire. And that's the way we need to rebuild. Everyone needs to rebuild with that in mind. And I think any houses that are old, no one is safe anymore. And I think that's what the Palisades fire taught all of us, is that no one's safe and that all of us can be exposed to this. We can do what we can. But I think a lot of innovations are going to come from this. And hopefully, for me, it's the environmental, it's the impact of for years or decades of all of these toxins. But if we rebuild with this in mind, hopefully that won't happen to the next generation and we won't have family heirlooms lost, because these houses were built to withstand fire or hurricanes. We've seen tornadoes in California. It's insane what we're seeing with weather patterns. Yeah, I'm super passionate about clean beauty and sustainability and clean living as a whole, because it's more than just what we're putting on our body. I'm thinking really long term. My daughter's almost 3, and I'm just always thinking of what her life will be like. Will she ever even need a driver's license with these self-driving cars? We were playing with my coins the other day, and I'm like, I don't even think she's probably never going to exchange change. So I think that there's just a lot that, and every generation changes, VHS tapes and all these things, a lot changes for the better. And I want to be a part of that positive change and be remembered for being a pioneer and also amplifying the pioneers that are in this space, because they are doing really groundbreaking things. And that's why we're trying to amplify them and give them the recognition that they deserve for creating revolutionary products. I just got off the phone with Solterra Tribe. I'll give you a great example. Her lip balm tube, after it's disposed, turns into fish food. That's insane. If it ends up in the ocean, it becomes fish food. Why doesn't everybody do that? To me, that is groundbreaking. I want to share that message with everyone. And I'm not working with this woman. I just literally had a call with her right before you. That's who I was on the phone with when we started talking. And she told me that. And I'm like, girl, like, how is this not national, global news? That's what I want to share with the world. That's what I want to stand behind. That's amazing that you can throw that in a fish tank and it becomes food. Just innovation is just, it's amazing to see what this small self-funded startup Indian woman who believes in Ayurveda and clean living, she just decided that's what she was going to do. And she created it from scratch with no funding, no backing, all by herself, young, scrappy. And I love that. And that's the kind of women that I want to work with and champion. Yeah.
So much there. One, I can empathize that as an everyday person, the way that I think, the way that I try to move in the world, I'm always thinking that there's more that I could be doing better. And if anyone's listening, if you're anything like me, there are these moments where I feel really stuck sometimes. And no matter what I do, whatever I implement, the changes that I make, sometimes it just doesn't feel enough. If you are anything like me, just know and soothe your heart that Even if you are just taking the little steps and just your everyday choices and your actions and your decisions, that adds up to really big shifts and momentum. Because we really need to start first with the little steps, because as we know, as you accumulate more steps, it does turn into bigger movements. I also love, like you were talking about, the innovation behind thinking a little bigger and thinking a little different and trying to break out of the normal way of doing things. Using plastics as an example, I understand that they're probably more affordable and it's easier to get started that way, but sometimes just nurturing your ideation a little bit more to think outside of the box and think about the impact that your product might be making, that also adds for an incredible story. Innovation equals a great story, which equals incredible visibility, which equals results. And I think if you look at that blueprint as a path towards bringing your product to life, you are also bringing that product to life that is going to help the planet. And there's going to be many like minded people who are going to rally behind that. As Cassandra has mentioned, when you have community of like minded people who also stand behind not only being successful, but then also thinking about our environment and the well being and lifestyles and health of everyone that we're in connection with, it builds revolutionary shifts in my perspective.
Yeah. I've been there at ground zero. This was my business. It wasn't just, oh, these are some products in my house that I like. I like to burn a candle. This was my livelihood. I had 100 weddings booked the year that I found out that the products that I was putting on other people and myself were causing me this issue. And I had to get rid of a $5,000 makeup kit that I traveled around and had and replenished all the time, and we're working with Makeup Forever and MAC. And I had all these endorsements with all these companies, and they were products that I was touting and sharing online and rallying behind, and just had no idea that they were mega corporations that were owned by a bigger corporation and these big conglomerate companies that didn't care about our health or well-being or anything. And that's when everything changed for me. And it was like, I actually want to shop local. I want to go to a farmer's market. I want to shop small businesses. I want to support women. You vote with your dollar. Every dollar you spend, if you're spending it on Amazon, that's where you choose to spend your money. I do it sometimes when I need to, but I do think, oh, if I need something, I give myself some time to say, where can I find this? Can I go on Etsy? Can I support someone locally? Should I go to a farmer's market if I need a new lip balm or a new picture frame? Let me just go see what artists are here local that I could support. And it took me, I'm still implementing changes. I'm like 8 years in, and I finally just got really nice sheets and a new mattress and a rug that had organic material. And with a small child, it's really hard and really expensive to buy. And we all know diapers is the whole thing. But clothing for her, the way that she's growing, it's really hard to say, oh, every month I need a new wardrobe for her and I'm going to spend $1,000 to make sure it's all organic cotton from the best local place. Like it's crazy expensive. So look, I'm not perfect. None of us are. We all consume things and make decisions, and it's all about the hope. It's about the future. And it's just cool to think that the next generation, they're going to save the planet. They have to. And it's just nice to know that these people are creating these innovations so that our kids can be able to go outside without a mask on. Can you imagine? Like, the movies are real, the end of the world and all that. We're getting pretty close with all these natural disasters that we're seeing, but we can still turn it around, and there is hope. And people are doing really innovative, amazing things to clear the oceans and with all the plastic, and create really great solutions and reuse plastic and create new items and clean up beaches and just do all these great initiatives. But I think you vote with your dollars. You also vote with your name and with your citizenship. I think now more than ever, it's really important to know what you're voting for, who you're voting for, and actually go out and vote as well, so that you're electing the right people to lead your city, your state in the right direction that have sustainability in mind. I really feel blessed living in California because a lot of laws are enacted here, like the Fragrance Act. I was part of that initiative in moving the needle for fragrance to legally be disclosed on the back of labels. And what happens in California is products are not just sent to California and then the products are different to go into Oregon. Like generally, when something is enacted in California, we don't just get special treatment because we live in California, maybe at first, but a company is going to make sure all their packaging across the board in all states has these parameters in place. Because take Amazon, for instance, you order something from Amazon, you don't know where that's going to go. If it's to California, you're not going to have, like, we're the largest economy. Like, you're not going to sell to California because we have certain laws. And generally, it's a ripple effect. So I love that we are spearheading a lot of these things, and breast cancer prevention partners and EWG and like really great organizations and nonprofits that I'm associated with, and that my brands have aligned themselves with 1% for the planet, like giving back and doing things to plant trees and just like these kinds of things to give back are so important. And I just love that we are really moving the needle when it comes to laws and making things more transparent and making brands really think about some companies don't even know what the fragrance is in their products. They don't even know. And a lot of people don't even think about the air freshener in their car or things that they don't associate fragrance with, like shampoo or deodorant and things. And these are things that are directly touching intimate parts of our bodies. And we do need to think about that. And we should be able to know exactly what's in something that we're buying and investing our money into. And I think wealth nowadays is your health because everyone's so sick and we want to protect that with everything we have. I really believe in companies that are starting from out of the gate, not just changing because they got to change something because they were doing something really cheaply, but actually having a company with like real morals and ethics and standards and clean ingredients. So yeah, I could clearly talk about this for 10 hours.
No, I love it. Honestly, the advocacy behind you and your brand, but then also these initiatives that you're a part of and your community is just incredible. And it's just very aligned. I said this in our first connection call ever that I just felt that I had declared what I wanted for 2025 and the people I wanted to connect with. And then you ended up in my LinkedIn DMs. So it was very serendipitous. But thank you so much for giving me the time and the space to share what your initiatives stand behind. I'm just very honored to be a part of the upcoming event and then hopefully other incredible initiatives to come for the year and beyond. But if there's anything else that you wanted to share before we wrap up, I'm going to give you another minute or so. Take us home.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to learn about the community that you have and the women who listen and connect with them. Again, like for me, I created my communities and my platforms to give other people the space that no one would give me. So if someone doesn't give you a seat at the table, create your own. And I built tables. And I really just believe in that. And it's so easy to say, oh, I support other women and I want to see them successful. If you can truly champion women and have them as your friends and you see all the hard work that they're doing behind the scenes, then you get to celebrate with them. And I love that. And that's what we're doing for this event, at this event, and for women there because, and like you, and hopefully some of the members in your community that listen to the show, to bring them in to experience real community and connection and support and give them inspiration to create their own brands and their own initiatives. And that's one thing that I really love seeing is people coming in with ideas and then leaving thinking, I actually think that I can do this now. It's so amazing. And I really just want to thank you again and congratulate you. And I'm glad to have you part of the community and initiatives and everything that we're doing. We have tons of events throughout the rest of the year. A lot of them are in California. So if anyone's interested, they can just go to CassandraMcClure.com, check out my website, follow me at Cassandra McClure on any major platform. I'm usually on Instagram. I do have a Pinterest. I do have a Facebook. I am huge on LinkedIn too. So I love connecting on there. So find me. I know you'll put everything in the show notes, so thank you so much. And if anyone has any questions about products, I'm always happy to help if with that, with giving product swaps and great recommendations.
Fantastic. Yes, I'll be sure to include everything down in the show notes. And as Cassandra mentioned, if you are interested in being a part of the Oscars event coming up, I'll be sure to also include more information. You can also just reach out to me personally and I can make an introduction, and we would love to see you there. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.